All right, teaching games for understanding specific tactical shot. The shot I've chosen is a low shot under a tree. The setup for the TGFU requires connecting 5 or 6 tour sticks together to make a long bendable stick. Each end of the stick is stuck into the ground, creating an archway that is around about 2 meters high and 4 meters wide. The archway itself is about 15 meters away from the teeing ground, and then the teeing ground and the archway need to be aligned with a target in the distance that is about 100 meters away. And you'll also need 2 buckets and some cones for a scoring system. The tactical skill that the TGFU targets is a low shot that a player would use to get back into good position on a hole, such as a player under a tree that needs to hit through a gap to get back to the fairway to continue the hole. Often on TV you see the likes of Tiger Woods play many creative recovery shots to either take a risk or get back into good position on a hole. And during the course of a tournament, these shots can add up and can be the reason he wins a tournament or not. The group that were doing the TGFU was a small group of players from the Tasman Junior Development Academy. They ranged between the age of 15 and 18. They were all off handicaps between 4 and 10. One of the players is left-handed and the others were all right-handed. And all the players were male and seek to improve their level of golf to play for Tasman and play in the interprovincial tournament and further afield. The game was played with 3 players. 2 of the players were playing the game, and the 3rd player was being a judge and setting the limitations for the game. The game was played by each player hitting a shot that had to fly through the stick archway towards the target. The players playing have a total of 9 shots to play each, and the winner is found with the player hitting the most correct shots. The 3rd player is setting the task and saying which club must be used and where the ball must finish in relation to the target in the distance. If a player completes the task, they score a point and get to put a small cone in their bucket to keep score. The winner is the player with the most cones in their bucket at the end of the 9 shots. The players then rotate, and one of the players becomes the task setter, while there is a new competitor to compete against. The game is played until all 3 of the players have played each shot in a round-robin format, and then the total amount of points collected by an individual decides the winner. The task setter can change a few things. So you can change the club that's used. There's a little diagram. Change the club that's used, where the ball has to finish in relation to the target. So either to the right-hand side or the left-hand side of the target. And you can also change the shape that they need to play. So, they could play a draw that goes through this edge, still has to finish on this side, or a shape that goes a little bit this way, but still has to finish on the left-hand side of the target. After playing the game, I asked what the players would change and how they would modify the game. The suggestions from the group were that the archway is good, but that we could actually use it not only to go underneath, but to go around as if the archway was a tree, and we had to hit it around the tree. Also suggested by the players was to change the distance of the archway, how far it was away from the teeing ground. If we brought the archway closer, it would allow us to use more lofted clubs. And if it was a further away, it would be easier to use, the lower lofted clubs that stay lower for longer. Also, the players suggested to change the size of the archway. So to put a bit more of a focus and create a bit more of a window for the starting line being the important part of the shot. They also suggested that more players could make it interesting, so having teams of of 3 or 4. To create a bit more fun and a bit more of a team environment. The winning team would end up with the most points, and they might play a certain amount of shots each, or you could turn the game with a team environment into a bit more of a race, so that there's a period of time where the teams had to hit shots, and then at the end of that period of time, it was who had the most cones in their bucket. Some other modifications that I came up with as an addition were adding an element of mind performance, so that the task setter had to work hard as well and create a picture for the players, and that picture might also require the players to not only hit through the target with a certain club, but also only hit it a certain distance. So they had a bit more of a visual on what they were trying to achieve. They were kind of on a hole rather than just trying on the range hitting a shot. This version could also have a modified scoring system where players get a point for each part of the task that they complete. So, there might be 3 or 4 points up for grabs, and they get a point for each one. The players were certainly engaged in the game. The group spends a lot of time together anyway, so they're already very competitive. So giving them an opportunity to not only compete against each other, but challenge each other, gave them another avenue to be more competitive. The players also immediately asked, could we use the archway again later in the next couple of practice sessions. And then they also started playing other games where they were using the nomination side of the game to get each other to hit different shots. So that might have even been on the chipping green, hitting a high shot, low shot, those sorts of things, or putting as well. The players' progress with their tactical low shots from under and around trees are improving. I'm not entirely sure whether that's because of the game itself, or whether it's because they're actually got an avenue to practice low shots, and that now they've got a game that they can practice. So I think it's definitely helping in that respect. One of the players also mentioned that he feels more confident and sure about how he'll play these shots when he's playing the game, when he's on the course. So that's cool. In terms of solving problems by themselves during the game, it probably didn't set up as much for that with the input of the task setter, selecting the shots that they were trying to play. But one of the players in particular at the beginning was flighting the ball, or trying to flight the ball low with a left to right shot. And by the end of a couple of games, he had changed that shot, and he was really trying to flight it right to left because he found that was a lot easier with the face shutting down to keep the ball a little bit lower for longer. He just mentioned that he was collecting more points and at a higher percentage of shots going through the target with that right to left shot. He was a right-handed golfer as well. TGFU and how it fits into my coaching programs. Well, I probably use it a little bit more for team environment stuff. So using it with groups and creating fun, different, challenging ways for them to interact. More than say individual games. But they're a great way to create specific game situations and coaching programs in mind, and encourage players to learn for themselves while they're doing it. It's definitely something I think I'll start to use a little bit more with individuals, and I'm definitely seeing the benefit in that now.